Hello. I wanted to make a video for quite some time talking about just general things and talking about the game and stuff, but I never really had the confidence to just go and do it, so I thought no better time than now. I'm gonna record it while driving, and yeah, I want to speak about doing stuff your way, because I think that's something that's really important in life, and it's certainly served me. So talking about games specifically, I think that being niche has sort of died, especially in racing games as of recently. Like if you look at all the big new releases, they're all just trying to appeal to everyone. If you look at Need for Speed Unbound, TDU Solar Crown, Forza Horizon 5, they're all kind of stinkers. Like, there's obviously a big player base to all of them, but that's because of the previous games. All the new ones try to give you as much cars and content as possible without taking a stance on style or anything like that. So you end up getting a non-product that no one really cares about. You have to do something that's extremely niche to get a cult fan base. If you want actual fans of your game that will keep it alive for a long time, which a lot of these live service games need, you need to do something different. Like, if we look to the past, there's games like Automobilista and stuff like that. Automobilista? I can't remember. But it's a crazy art style, and that game's still got a cult fan base to this day. But if you look at something like The Crew 2, which released a while ago, yeah, it had a lot of players, but since it's so corporate in its style, no one really cares. Like, The Crew 1, people enjoyed that game a lot more because it was darker, it was grittier, it had more of a unique vibe to it. But the second game, I think majority of people were disappointed in that. And this importance to be niche is not just a thing that applies to big AAA games. It's everything, really. Indie games too. Like, if you look at the scene of indie racing games, it's all just drifting games, Japanese drifting games. That's all that is coming out right now. You've got a bunch here. I'm going to show them on screen because I can't remember them all, but there's just too many to count. And it's like, who wants these, you know? People that are actually into realistic sim drifting, they play Assetto Corsa, and if they're not, they play Car X. But all these other games try and cash in on that, and, you know, other YouTubers that are, well, I'm not going to name names, but you know which ones they are. They just cover these games for clickbait because they think everyone wants to play them. And it's killing originality, you know. None of these games have dedicated fan bases. It's just like, okay, another game to play. And that's killing the whole scene, really. If we want to talk about games that are, you know, new and doing something niche, you've got Night Runners. Like, yeah, that's another Japanese thing, but it's not drifting, it's highway racing. And the 2000s aesthetic and everything, that's something people have wanted for a long time. And finally, a game's actually doing it. So it's got a lot of attention from YouTubers, and it's got a ton of Steam wish lists and things like that, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't really know how to check that, but the attention on the game is massive, and it's only like a demo out right now. You know, I don't see why it isn't more obvious to be more niche. It's the same in any kind of art. If you do something that is extremely potent in one thing, like if something's very different but it's bad, it's bad. But if you truly follow out like a certain kind of vibe, it will be a fan favourite. Like, in my opinion, one of the best Need for Speed games is Need for Speed The Run, and that's because they weren't on Twitter and stuff like Ghost were, listening to everything people were saying, and it's like, oh, we need to bring the M3 GTR back, we need to, you know, we need to add free roam this and that, and we need to add these random cars that people like in a random country. They just wanted to make a cool ass game, and one that was story heavy, and people at the time would have been like, hell no, I don't want that. but it turned out to be a masterpiece pretty much, because they didn't listen. They were just passionate. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I want to make a game that I'm passionate about. Like the Need for Speeds that I grew up with, I want to make a game like those, but better. Because even when I was a kid, you know, I would draw games as an 8-year-old, and you know, it was just on paper. It wasn't any good, but my want to make things better, it was already there. So now it's the time. I built a lot of the game before starting the story, but I didn't do it properly. I was holding myself to standards that I had before, where I wanted to make a game that didn't look that great, it wasn't that well polished, and that's when, you know, I asked Imported about it, or on YouTube as Race Driver 43, which I'll link down below. That was really important. He was the one that pushed me to change it from something that would have been 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, not very good, to something that could actually, you know, push 7 or 8 out of 10. Like, I'm being realistic. I know I can't create a masterpiece with just a team of 3, but something that's an indie game that's like, it's got quality to it and it's got something people want. So that's why I am creating something that's niche. I'm not going to listen to everyone. I'm going to take in good suggestions, of course. I'm going to care about the fan base, but I'm not going to make it a game for everyone, because that's not what it is. It's a game for people like me, for people like Imported, that like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Need for Speed The Run, Burnout games. There's a little bit of that in there. Blur, Need for Speed Rivals, those kind of games. That's who it's for. If you're a fan of Need for Speed 2015, Need for Speed Underground, this probably isn't for you. There's stuff you still like in there. There's body kits, there's decals, but I'm being real with you, it's not that kind of game. There's elements of Most Wanted in there, but it's mostly focused on races versus cops. It's got like fictional weapons, and it's about car collecting as well. The car list is huge. For, you know, there's a lot of cars for cops and racers, and so that's a big incentive. That's something it will have over other games. Well, it's got that already. It's the story that needs to be done, and we're reworking everything. I've redone the graphics so far, and then Shoei and Imported, they're redoing all the maps and everything. So the whole thing is getting rebranded, basically. Like, I've not posted much about it on the channel, but the UI, the graphics, sound, the music, everything's been overhauled, like, in that element. It's just now we're redoing the maps, redoing the body kits for all the cars as well, and then after that it should be, you know, sorted. We'll have point 2 finished. Version 0.2 is like finishing career, and then after that we're going to tackle the story mode, which is where things will really get interesting. I don't know if you could hear anything I said there, but because of the road quality, but we're going to have comic cutscenes, throwback kind of stuff. The story is going to be a huge focus of this game. It's going to be something that not many racing games have, apart from The Run. This is going to be, you know, something unique. It's going to have big set pieces, just a cinematic experience. That's the kind of game I've always wanted to create, and I'm finally able to create it. I've been working on games for 5 years, but if you look at The Infecting 3, which is the first game I put out on Steam, it's nothing special. It was supposed to be a little love letter to Flash games and stuff of that era, but stacking it up against proper games, it's not really got much of a shot. But Tarmac Legends, if you like racing games, you know, it's going to be a good racing game. And I'm being realistic, I'm being unbiased here. Because I could say, you know, it's the new Need for Speed, something like that. Get a load of clickbait. It's the new Most Wanted or something like that. It's not that. But for an indie game, it's going to be high quality, and we're going to put as much effort as we can. It's just a trio working on it to try and get it to the vision that, you know, I want to achieve. So as I finish up this video, I just want to say, please support my Patreon if you can, because apart from my job, there's not really any funding going towards the game. I made a small Kickstarter, but I set it way too low. It didn't really make me anything useful. You know, all the money was put towards the game, but it wasn't enough to fund how ambitious the game turned out. So yeah, if you can support me on Patreon, please do. And thank you for watching. I hope this video was interesting and kept things clear for what's going on. So yeah, goodbye.